So you're wanting to learn how to start spinning and you're very unsure where to start. And maybe you've even watched videos after videos after videos and you're still very unsure where to even begin. Well, I have some wonderful news for you because over the next several weeks, I am going to be having a series dedicated strictly to my beginner spinners. Now, over the series, I am going to be covering the type of spinner that you might be interested, some fibers that you want to maybe start off with and avoid, along with learning how to spin and even what you need to know after post spinning. Now, my name is Sydney and I have been spinning for about 2 years now. No, I am not a professional, but I have been in your shoes. So in today's video, I am actually going to be covering whether this is actually going to be for you or not. Whether this is for you or not is going to be strictly based as you as a person. Let's go ahead and face it that spinning yarn is an expensive hobby to acquire. And I don't mean that just by the money side of things. I mean that as time as well. Now, the purpose of this video is not to discourage you from wanting to learn how to spin yarn because it is fun. It's just the reality of it and help you determine whether this is going to be for you and worth it to you. Because I don't want you going out spending potentially loads of money on a manual spinning wheel, an electric spinning wheel, or even a drop spindle, and you potentially not even like it or be passionate about it or not wanting to further on with it. So what do I mean when time is expensive? Well, to create one hank of yarn, it's going to take you potentially either hours or even upon days, depending on how you're getting your fiber or processing your fiber. For an example, I have this cake here that is 362 yards. To create one of these hanks, it took me at least a good 10 plus hours, and that's only 362 yards. If you think about it, that's not a lot. You can't even make a shawl out of that. You can't even make a sweater out of that. The only thing that this is really good for is probably making a hat or a scarf or something in that nature, or potentially even weaving up. Now, how did I break that time down? Well, recently I have acquired a drum carder. So I already had some roving that was already pre-made, so that took time out of having to process some fiber. But I ended up having to make about 5 bats in order to get this much yarn. So to create one bat probably took me about 30 minutes, if not more. So times that by 5. You do the math because I cannot do the math right now. But once I got done with that, I ended up having to spin my singles. This is only a 2-ply. The more ply that you go into, the longer it's going to take you. So creating one single bobbin probably took me a good 2 hours to create. So that's already between the 2 bobbins that I had to make for a 2-ply, probably took me at least a good 4 hours. Now you got to apply those together, which probably took another hour. So I'm probably already up to, let's say, about 8 to 10 hours. Now, after you are done spinning your fiber, you have to set the twist. Typically, most people let it only sit for about 20 minutes and then you have to dry it. And then after that whole process is done, you have to put it on a Swift and get your yardage counted, or put it on a nitty knotty, whatever you're doing after you've set your twist, which I'll go over that in a separate video. But that's what I mean when I say time is expensive, because creating one hank can again take you hours upon days, and that's depending on how you're processing your fibers as well, or how you're getting your fibers. Now let's go ahead and go over how expensive or inexpensive spinning can be first starting off. Now, obviously, you are going to have to acquire some materials, which is going to be some type of spinner and some type of fiber. Now, in my next video, I will be going a little bit more into depth on the 3 different main types of spinners, but a brief overview, you have 3 main types of spinners. One being a drop spindle, which is what most people recommend for a beginner. A electric spinner, which is what I recommend for a beginner, and I will go over that in my next video. And then a manual spinning wheel, which is what you see right here. Now, depending on what type of spinner you get is going to determine on how expensive first starting spinning is going to be for you. Now, the reason why most people recommend a drop spindle is because it is a lot cheaper than an electric or a manual spinning wheel. So it really depends on you as a person or what you want to start off with. Again, I recommend an electric spinner, but I will go over that in the next video. Like I stated earlier, you're going to need some type of fiber. Now, the cost of it is going to be determined on the type of fiber that you are getting or looking at. In my third part of the series, I will be going over some fibers that you want to grab as a beginner, but also some fibers that you may want to avoid as well. So I hope this video did help you out today, and if it did, please don't forget to hit that like, share, comment, or subscribe button, but also stick around so that you know what you need to know before you start spinning and how to start spinning as well. So in my next video, I will be going over the different types of spinning wheels and what to look out for when you are looking for spinning wheels. I will see you in the next video, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.